Here are the top 5 best weapons inside of Modern Warfare Zombies. One thing to quickly mention, these weapons will probably change over time and I will be trying to make the top 5 or whatever updated list as I go on. These are personally the best weapons that I have recently tested out and seen by the community overall, agreeing that these are just really good. The first weapon that I'm going to talk about is actually 2 or even multiple, and that is because they are melee weapons. So coming in on the number 5 spot, these are really good, and the main reason is because they do allow you to not only kill zombies but let you run around really fast. And there are 2 certain melee weapons that I would really recommend for you to use, and one of them is the Karambit melee weapon, that is a Modern Warfare 3 weapon, and also the Tonfa, which is a Modern Warfare 2 weapon, and these just are probably, in my opinion, the best. Obviously you do have dual wield meleeing, you have other types of melee weapons which Modern Warfare 2 kind of gathered all together, which you can unlock by completing challenges, but I was considering putting this on this top 5 list, but to be honest, fists aren't really considered to be weapons and it will be kind of too generic. But since melee weapons can get you out of sticky situations, since you will be able to melee, upgrading them and packet punching them, you'll be able to run around fast with them, and also, again, as I said, just melee. The next one is the WSP Swarm submachine gun, and this thing on its own is really good, but there's a special attachment that you can unlock by completing weekly challenges as of the time I'm making this video, and from here you can unlock the WSP Akimbo Brace stock, and once you put this thing on your weapon it becomes quite insane, and that is because it essentially takes the one submachine gun that is already pretty good and just doubles it and makes it akimbo. This thing with the 100 mag attachment, which I will have all the attachments linked down in the description if you want to check them out for the other weapons, just honestly becomes an amazing beast, and it can take out zombies with ease. The headshot on this thing is insane, and I wouldn't really recommend for you to run into, let's say, tier 3 without fully leveling it up and packet punching it, but it still is, in my opinion, on 100% contender for the 4th or even 5th spot. I just decided to put the melee weapons on the 5th. This one is definitely bound to get you out of some situations easier, and I 100% recommend for you to test it out just because it is really fun to use as well, and I really like the idea of it becoming dual wield and having an insane amount of ammo, and it's actually pretty accurate for a submachine gun, especially with the attachments that I have tested out on it. Moving on to the 3rd spot, we have kind of a difficult list here. These top 3 weapons are honestly almost competitor for top number 1. They are insane, but unfortunately I had to kind of, reconsider this list, and I'm putting the tier pistol on the 3rd spot. And the main reason for this is because the tier pistol is really good, and I will get into why, but you do kind of have to level it up and packet punch it for it to really become as amazing as it is, and the other 2 weapons don't really require as much setting up. So the way you can make this thing insane to the point that it takes out the Stormcaller boss fight inside of Modern Warfare Zombies with like ease, like it barely takes you any time to take it out with this thing, is the snake shot attachment that you can unlock by either completing daily challenges or unlocking it on the weapon that has the ammunition attachment unlocked on, and then a combination of dual wield. Once you do this, it is really crazy against bosses. It makes tier 3 really easy, but there's also a slight bit of a flaw with it, and the reason is it essentially just has 10 bullets all together each time that you shoot it. So each side of the weapon will have 5 bullets. Obviously there will be quite a lot in your reserve, but you'll have to reload it a lot. So this is where an attachment like Speed Cola really comes in handy, and even like Stamina Up to be able to run away far enough from the zombies. So this thing is really honestly like a beast, and I would really recommend using it, especially on the Stormcaller if you're struggling. Obviously the best weapon to use on the Stormcaller is the Blood Burner motorcycle, but if you don't have that, I really recommend using this. Now before we move on to the last 2, which I feel like a lot of people might already know, one thing I will quickly say is obviously the other weapons that are insane are like wonder weapons, specifically the ray gun, but the reason I'm not including the ray gun and like the generic ones on this list is just because, well, they're kind of obvious. I'm trying to create a list where you'll be able to spawn with these weapons and use them at any time, so I guess you could consider this like an honorable mention section. But moving on to the 2nd best weapon inside of the game in my opinion, and that is the RGL-80 grenade launcher. A lot of people might think right now, oh, you're wrong, no, it is the RGL-80, but one thing that I feel like a lot of people forget to consider with this grenade launcher is it just isn't that great. Obviously you will be clearing clearing out the zombies, the humans, it is a beast against those, but there's a lot of disadvantages with this weapon. Number one, it has a pretty slow reload speed that obviously can be countered with using Speed Cola. Another thing that I slightly don't like about this weapon is the amount of smoke it creates. I personally have to play in third person when I use this weapon. It just blocks my view way too much, and then when I run inside of tier 3, I struggle a lot to see most of the time, and in that place, your visibility, your movement, and everything is incredibly important. Obviously, those are like really silly things to complain about, but that is the main reason I'm not including it on the number 1 spot. But once you level it up, which unfortunately I would really recommend to put it up like Pack-a-Punch 2 and at least blue rarity for it to really become good, because if you don't do that, it does slightly struggle, so that's another reason I'm not including it on the number 1 spot. It's something that will obviously be clearing out the zombies and make you an insane player and is really good in the game, but it just does not compete with the number 1 weapon, and that is the crossbow. But just like the other weapons, this thing has some slight disadvantages, and I think the biggest one is the fact that it is a DLC weapon for Modern Warfare 2, so you have to complete some challenges inside of multiplayer, DMZ, or exfil with it inside of Modern Warfare Zombies. One interesting thing that I did discover, the Call of Duty community, at least the one that I have created on our Discord server, kind of go to the point of selling the crossbow exfil to people, which I think is absolutely insane. I think completing the multiplayer challenges aren't too difficult if you don't have this thing, but the reason it is insane, in my opinion, and deserves the number 1 spot for the best weapon inside of the game is because of a lot of different reasons that I'm going to get into now. Number 1. There are 2 different attachments that will make this thing incredible. And yes, there are 2 different attachments that you do need. The first one is the explosive bullets on it, or at least the arrows. This thing is really insane, and it was definitely one of my favorite options to use, similar to the RGL, but there is a different attachment, similar arrows wise, that makes it even more insane, and that is the thermite arrows. These things are crazy, and the main reason for that is because they do leave arrows behind that could burn zombies and could make your life super easy running around, but there is one more reason. Not only is it really good on taking down bosses like the Disciples, Manglers, Mimics, but also it is insane with taking down the Mega Abomination. Like, it really is insane. It can take it down in a matter of a few seconds when you have it Pack-a-Punched and leveled up. And I think one of my other favorite things with the crossbow is the fact that it can be Pack-a-Punched once and green rarity and be the best that it can. It almost feels like it's incorrectly balanced. But similar as to the RGL, something that I didn't mention, there is quite a few perks that you do need to make these 2 weapons, the RGL and the crossbow, as good as they are. The most important one is the PhD flopper, as it will prevent you from taking explosive damage or fire damage from both of the guns, but also using Speed Cola to be able to reload them faster, Juggernog to obviously be able to survive the zombies inside of tier 3, because these 2 weapons I do recommend, or at least even the tier, take inside of the tier 3 zone, but also on top of that, having stamina to be able to run away, to have time to reload. There's a lot of disadvantages with every single weapon inside this game. I don't think there's any, apart from like, I guess maybe motorcycle that I did mention, but apart from that, nope. Every single weapon I think really requires Speed Cola, Stamina Up, and Jug, obviously the basics, just to be able to reload fast enough, because zombies in this game can be sometimes cracked, even inside of the tier 2 region. But anyway, these are the weapons that I think are deserving a top 5 list. There are quite a few weapons inside the game, so there might be still one out there that a lot of people still don't know about, and I guess it'll just be a matter of time until we find it. But for now, again, top 5 melee weapons: WSP, Swarm, Submachine Gun, Tier, Akimbo, Snake Shot Pistol, RGL 80 Grenade Launcher, and Crossbow with the explosive or thermite arrows. Thank you so much for watching. If you did watch this far into the video, hopefully I did give you some more insight on the best weapons inside the game. If you did enjoy it, definitely be sure to subscribe. We're on the road to hitting 50,000 subscribers. We just hit 43k not too long ago, so thank you again so much for that one. I can't thank you multiple times just because it is absolutely insane, and also a like would be very much appreciated, as that does help the spread of the video. If you want to see more Modern Warfare Zombies content, Modern Warfare 3 content, I upload that daily, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.